Saros, the next game from Finnish Sony first-party Housemarque, will be released next month. Ahead of the game's release, VGC travelled to the studio in Helsinki and played 3 hours of the upcoming third-person shooter. Footage of that gameplay session can be found on VGC's YouTube channel. We also sat down and spoke with Gregory Louden, the game's director, who previously served as one of the senior figures on Returnal. This is that conversation. Gregory Louden, how are you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for coming
to speak to you again. The last time we did this was over Zoom for Returnal, so it was a long time ago, and it's nice to actually be in Housemarque here in Finland.
Yeah, it's wonderful. So thanks for coming here. No, great to talk to you again, and it's building these mysterious games. It's really nice to talk about them.
How does it feel now that people are just out there playing it? They've been playing it for a couple of days.
It's been amazing. And I think people seem really excited, which is great, and really validating because it's been a while since Returnal, so it's great to get our next big game out and get people excited by it.
I suppose when you make these things in a vacuum, you probably are pretty confident in it. Like it'd be difficult to not be, but once you actually get people to play it, that kind of tells you that you're on the right track at this point, essentially.
Yeah, 100%. So I think a lot of us on the team, we knew it was already special, and I think unanimously people really love this game we're building, and really we've constantly kept pushing to make it better and better. So we felt like we created something we really loved and we're really proud of. So it's great to, as you said, kind of validate it and get people to play it and also be excited by it and inspired. So yeah, definitely confident, but still always wanting to push. So what you played is still work in progress. So we're going to keep tightening until April 30 to deliver the best game we can for players. But yeah, we're really excited and can't wait for more people to play it.
Excellent. I wanted to go back to the start. How long has Saros kind of been ruminating? I noticed that Harry Kruger, who's no longer here, he's credited as part of the story, so I assume it's been quite a long time. How soon after Returnal did Saros get spun up?
So Saros actually, it started, I'd say, right after Returnal. So a lot of us were focused on Returnal Ascension. We had like our DLC that kind of went out, but there was a very small crew, and Harry was there, Villa Kinnunen, our art director from Returnal, and Henry Mustonen. So we were culminating and beginning to kind of setting down the initial vision for Saros. And then from there, we've had a real wonderful team of collaborators that have joined it, and it's transformed and evolved many times, kind of like Carcosa. But in the end, it's been a long road. So really thrilled to be here, and finally, it's actually coming out 5 years after Returnal, April 30, the same day, which is really exciting. Cool. So so for Housemarque fans, you can jump in.
It's all very cyclical.
Exactly.
You love your theme in here.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. So
Actually, you make a good point. It's very rare these days for developers to ship 2 games on the same console. Like a lot of places aren't doing that anymore. What do you put that down to in Housemarque? Do you just have like a rock solid team that knows what they're doing and you just have a clear vision? How have you been able to do what other developers in the current generation have kind of struggled to do?
I think you said it yourself. We have a real amazing team. And I kind of said earlier, and I'll say it again, like this is a dream project and it's a dream team. Everyone is really focused on delivering the best game, and everyone is really invested in this type of vision and really wanting to kind of challenge players with our gameplay, challenge players with our story, with our art direction, sound direction, like in all aspects. So I think we've had a real exciting thing to kind of galvanize around. And then obviously this kind of drive to deliver another game and push it out. So it's been amazing team and a great vision that I think's really been the big thing for us. And just sticking to our guns, like we loved Returnal. We knew we wanted to do something new with Saros, and hence just kind of take what we loved from Returnal and then evolve it and keep pushing ourselves. So I'd say that's why.
So obviously I love Returnal, I love how hard it is. And when you first started talking about this game, there was a little part of me that was worried that made me think, have people got in their ear and said that Returnal was too hard and Saros wouldn't be hard? I'm glad to report that it's still very hard. I haven't played the first 2 biomes.
You're welcome.
Exactly. Yeah. But how do you take that as a creator, as feedback? Because obviously you want to make the game you want to make, and Housemarque's style has always been this kind of brutal stuff. But at some point, when so many people say, okay, I'm struggling with this, you kind of have to react. So how did you approach that?
Yeah, so for us it was about not diluting like the Returnal experience and actually just making sure that it could be more approachable to more people. So in that sense, as you said, the game is still going to kick you down.
Yeah.
But the difference in Saros is you come back stronger. It's literally our tagline, where you can take your resources you collect and invest them. And that's a key distinction and difference. But it doesn't mean that it's not a challenging game, to your point. It's challenging and rewarding. So every death is valuable. You'll take your energy. You can basically choose your playstyle. You do invest into your command, about shield usage, power weapon. And do you invest into kind of your drive, how you collect lucini from the world? So for us, it was about keeping what made Returnal right, and then adding this element that could kind of allow more people to jump into it. So,
and was that always core? Was there a version of Saros that had the previous style of progression, or was it always this kind of points into a tree style progression?
It's evolved, but it was always core. Basically, one of the driving goals from the beginning of the project was every death is valuable, because we essentially, and Returnal, every death was valuable and player knowledge, but we wanted to push that actually into the game and into the systems and allow you to grow. So it was there. We went down many journeys in the end, but I think the armor matrix I'm really proud of, and I think we've done like a housemark twist at how it evolves, and you've only seen some of it, and there's some really cool stuff you can find as you get further into the tree.
Another thing that's pretty unhousemark is a lot of the direct storytelling. Obviously, Returnal has mountains of storytelling, but some of it's quite hard to pick at, whereas there are characters you can talk to in a base in this game, which is very unhousemark. Again, was that something that you really wanted to bring to it? And did you think that the storytelling in Returnal, some players maybe missed because of the kind of work required to get to it?
So actually, I think it was similar like to what we've done with, like, we didn't want to dilute it. So it was just, we were really excited to add more characters. And back when we were working on Returnal, there was an idea of, hey, let's have multiple characters. And I think I was one of the people that said, it's hard to do one character right. Let's just do one really well, and then we can grow. So now we're in a position where we always had that ambition as a studio, but it was about kind of building up our skills and finding our means. So for us with Saros, it was a similar, like, part of the vision that you're not alone on this planet. There's other people you can meet and love and lose. So it's been there since day one. So it's essentially been very critical to the experience. And I think the benefit is they provide new viewpoints, but we also have all the stuff you loved in Returnal. We have these really haunting audio logs. And we have some really great performances you've probably heard from all these different, basically echelon crew that you can discover, and they get stranger and stranger. So rest assured, all the stuff we had in Returnal is there, plus we've added even more and really tried to challenge ourselves and really challenge the players and challenge our fans. Because people that love Returnal, they want more, and we deliver that, but we want to push it as well and evolve it.
I suppose from your perspective, you would like the people who play the game to get all of the story from that and not have to like go on like a here's everything you missed from Returnal kind of thing. Like, especially when you have this system. It reminded me of Hades and Hades 2 a lot, where every time you die, there's like a new little bit of dialogue from the crew. What were some other influences on the game?
I would say, actually, I think it's a huge compliment that people create videos. So I hope they do that for Saros as well, that people create these meanings, and our story is built to be haunting and interpretive and ambiguous. So I love that part. That's been a real, and our team loves it.
Do you ever watch them and go, no, you're wrong about that? You're actually interpreting.
Some people are all right than others, but still. But our idea is to have ambiguity and to really like challenge the audience, and it's meant to leave you with questions. That's the stories that have stayed with me. Like the great music, the great films, the great games, like they're haunting. You keep thinking about them. What does this mean? What are they trying to say? So Saros has that. Would you mind repeating this?
Oh, I was just going to ask you general kind of influences, and just to tack onto that, at some point you have to like divest yourself from that so you're not copying anything. Is that a very kind of early in development conversation about we would like to make something kind of like this with touches of this before you move on to what is a very unique thing?
Yeah, for me it's always been, it's not where you take things from, it's like where you take things to. That's like the Jean-Luc Godard, like Jim Jarmusch type of quote, which I think is fair. But in the end, I really think that's the case. But yeah, we're inspired by things, but our biggest inspiration is always our own games. And yeah, we do play everything, we watch everything, we listen to everything, but I'd say in the end, and read everything. But nonetheless, I think it is about, as you said, having your own distinct voice. So we loved interacting with other characters in games and worlds. So I think for us, it was about having that opportunity and then doing it our own way. So even a very simple, small thing is we wanted you to kind of invest into a conversation, but we also wanted you to keep control. So you have full control of the camera. Other games would do that a different way, but that was our housemark way of still engaging that and allowing you to invest into a conversation to kind of lock in, but also keep the agency to really customize it and make it your own. So it was more about having the elements and then, yeah, playing other stuff, but then trying to make it our own bit by bit. Similar to audio logs. There have been audio logs in so many games, but we've tried to do our own approach, which is more about authenticity and insight and cosmic horror. So really trying to push it. And obviously Jane was wonderful in that. And we've got And Jane is back. Yeah, but nonetheless, I think we have a lot of other actors for you to meet, and kind of they've brought so much authenticity.
Let me tell you, when Jane first popped up in that trailer, for like a split second, I thought it was going to be Salim, and I thought it was going to be like a like that, because obviously there's been a lot of talk about like, is it connected to Returnal? Is it just thematically connected? But when I saw that, I was like, okay, at least Jane's there. That's quality. And also on the audio logs, a lot of games have started making you pause the action to listen to the audio logs. I'm glad that you can still have this kind of like haunting last words while you're getting bombarded by like 1,000 enemies at the same time. So I suppose keeping up that pace is so key for you. How do you balance that with telling a story that perhaps isn't suited to having like 1,000 glowing orbs flying at you?
Yeah, I think it comes down to, like, at Housemarque, we're gameplay first. So for us, it's about allowing you to go into the gameplay, and it's about really protecting that flow. So for us with audio logs, we would never make you stay there in a menu. And in general, you can skip every bit of story if you want. And that's kind of really wanting to protect the action flow. But to your point, I love the sort of radio show of hearing a haunting log as you're dancing between projectiles and absorbing them. But no, it's been about kind of really protecting the flow and making sure that you stay invested. And even like this past few days, like watching people play, like you can see some people just stand there and they just pan the camera slowly. Some people just blaze, but there is a unique sort of symphony of, like, as you said, going into combat and listening to someone lose their mind. I think it's a really very special part of the interactive medium. That's the thing, you can choose. The same way in real life, if there was an audio log, you could just stand there, you could explore. So we really try to do something that's really special to our medium, which is the interaction. So every element ideally can have some little twist.
Just on the movement and stuff, you mentioned yesterday the term bullet ballet, and when you first said it, I was like, okay, that's interesting. Is that going to be like is that just like a marketing term? But then as soon as I played it, I was like, that's actually very good shorthand for what is going on. And the game almost feels like a rhythm game in some ways. Like it feels a bit like Thumper or something like that, where especially for the bosses, when those waves, those whole walls come towards you and you have to decide which one to go to and time everything, that felt something that is very unique to this compared to Returnal, whereas there's some elements like taking a item that will give you negative effects as well as positive effects, where it comes from Returnal as well. So how picky were you in terms of like, okay, this stuff from Returnal, rock solid, has to stay, but this stuff we can kind of change and mix up a little bit?
Yeah, no, I think you hit it to the core, that there is this sort of rhythm aspect, and that is the way that you can really kind of adjust the experience. So it is core to it, and it is a unique part. And one thing that Matti, our associate design director, says is that Returnal was more of an obstacle course. So essentially every bullet is something you evade. You want to get out of the way. But in Saros, it's a ballet. You actually engage with it. You kind of twist around it. You dance with the bullets. So, and you absorb them. So we go from avoidance to interaction. So it's from obstacle course to playground. It's kind of this like terminology, which I think is brilliant. So in the end, I think it's been driving that. And he's similarly said about the rhythm of the game. And that is a core part, particularly when we have a boss fight, as you mentioned, with music driving as well.
Yeah.
The music is interactively driving you, the sound design, the visuals. It is about really pulling you into a flow state. And I think that's when Housemarque games shine. And that's why Housemarque games shine the most when you're playing. It's the type of thing where you can watch it and you think you get it, but you don't until you're holding the DualSense and you feel the haptics, you feel the gameplay flow. So yeah, it's been a core part of the action experience.
Speaking of music, and I obviously won't ask for specifics because you would never tell me, but the Don't Fear the Reaper moment in Returnal is one of the best moments the last decade in games. Are you thinking about a similar moment for Saros?
I can't tell you.
Yeah.
But thank you. Yes, I checked. It's this song. It's on this level. But we always want to evolve. So that's
I absolutely noticed like the music. I don't know if the headphones were like super loud or whatever, but it was like tense. Like it's the first time in ages my elbows have been locked while I'm playing something, which is a bit crazy. Like honestly, I thought I would walk it because I played Returnal again recently, and I was like, okay, I know how these guys do it. I'll be able to do that stuff. As soon as I was like, okay, I remember.
Yeah, no. Sam Slater, our composer for this, has done a phenomenal job, and I think not an easy one. We said we wanted to do dark electronic meets drone metal, which is not a combination, but once again, we're trying to build something really futuristic and bold. So it was about almost trying to create our own musical genre, which is, it definitely took twists and turns, but I'm really proud of the result in the way that the music can kind of, as you said, create the atmosphere as you're exploring Carcosa. But the moment you call the eclipse, that's when the drone metal washes over us.
So expressive. Yeah. It's really terrifying. Yeah. And it's a headphones game, definitely.
Oh, and yeah.
I also wanted to talk about, you mentioned in the presentation about like playtime in terms of like time of session, you know, you want to get it to around 30 minutes. And talking to other people here at the event that played Returnal and liked it, they were saying, I played for a couple hours and then died and felt like I didn't really get much. Does this combination of a shorter engagement time with the 30 minutes and the progression system try to alleviate that? Is that a specific goal?
Yeah, it was about us wanting to have more digestible sessions and really boost the replayability, because that's like a driving principle for us. So in essence, as you said, rather than have the sort of tension and strain of long runs without, apart from player knowledge reward, we really wanted to tighten it. So that way, when you do die, and you will die, it's easier to get back into the action. And I think it's a really great kind of combination where you still have the thrill and kind of dancing on the knife edge, as we like to say, but then you can kind of come back stronger and get into it more quickly. So it was another thing that we envisioned very early on after Returnal that we wanted to kind of build upon. And yeah, really happy with the result.
Excellent. Obviously for this game, you're stepping into a different role. You're one of the seniors on Returnal, but now you're the main man. How has that changed your approach to developing the game? And has it been something unexpected challenges?
Yeah, definitely. I thought I was busy before when I was the narrative and cinematic director of Returnal, but it's a different type of busy and a different type of thing. But I've loved the opportunity, and I loved working with our previous group, and I loved working with Harry Kruger. He's a great friend, but still, it's been an amazing opportunity to kind of lead an amazing team and really try to do something really bold and special. Because I think really lucky to have the opportunity to do this. And for me, being a player, I want to be pushed, I want to be challenged, and I want to play really futuristic and special games that really challenge and things I've never seen before. So it's an amazing opportunity. And we've also joined PlayStation in this time, and they've been a tremendous support in terms of mentorship and trust and so many different aspects. Even this event alone is like, it's in the studio. So it's been amazing. But yeah, it's been challenging and rewarding. I'd say very similar to Saros, that it's really been something that's really challenged me, but also I find endlessly rewarding. I'm really proud to represent like our amazing team, because it's a dream team we have. There's a lot of really special people.
On the PlayStation connection, Housemarque games are some of the few that really utilize like the controller stuff, the DualSense stuff.
Yeah.
And you were doing that before you were even part of PlayStation, so I don't think it's a mandate in any way, but does that just give you an extra like dimension to play with? And it obviously gives you unique control opportunities where like the half press does a different thing and the full press does a different thing. So can you speak to that?
Definitely. It's been we love the DualSense. We love 3D audio. We love all those aspects. And to me, it pulls you into the experience. It creates a physical experience. So don't want to talk about it too much, but as you noticed, even from the initial terminal, we kind of have the haptics, like you're touching a keyboard, and we really want to pull you in. And to me, it's something that interactive medium and PlayStation can do. Other mediums, you just sit there, and there are cinemas that shake, but I think the DualSense is a really special thing. So when I got to play the initial prototype, I was blown away and immediately jumped in with our amazing team and really tried to push everything, and the adaptive triggers as well. So we pushed it to another level, as you saw. So we have the port fully for your power weapon, and Arjun's arm erupts into a like eclipse-driven weaponry. Halfway, all of the primary weapons, they actually have this alternate fire, and it's super cool. Did you find the hand cannon with ricochet bullets?
I think so. As I was describing it as like a varying shotgun. Whatever my gun was for my final run was so overpowered that I was like, this is class, because I got to the second boss a couple of times with the quite short range weaponry.
Yeah.
This isn't what I want for that engagement. So, that's another question I had. Are those guns randomly generated, or is it a bespoke list of guns?
So we have multiple archetypes and multiple variants. And then, yes, they do kind of challenge and surprise you. And then we have the Eclipse. So what does the Eclipse do to the weapons? How does it corrupt them? So that's another layer you can discover in the game. But basically, every time you play, you'll get a different option. So the one, I think that's the thing you would have noticed, that when you die, we actually let you keep the weapon that you had before. You still need to build it up, but it's another distinction. Whereas in Returnal, Salim would always wake up at the crash site with a pistol.
Yeah.
Or Defender. But basically now, essentially, you can, if you had that weapon, you can keep it for a bit longer, which I think is another means to kind of really motivate you and pull you into the world and like push you to keep going further.
It certainly like reinforces the kind of one more run feeling of like a Hades or something like that. Because with Returnal, I was always looking for the gun that would shoot like the red cables.
Electron pylon driver. Yeah, that's our crowd favorite.
Absolutely that, because you could like basically break the game by just making cages where they couldn't get out of. But for this, it was like, okay, I know what I've got. I know I can build that up. And also with the Eclipse, you seem to give players quite a lot of freedom on when they engage that. Like you can just flip it on immediately and do the little, the two-part objective and then go to the boss.
Yeah.
But if you want, you can go and do all of the other things. Is that just another thing where it feels like you sat down with Returnal and there was a lot of like pain points and you're like, well, we could just do this and give people the option to like tone it down a little bit?
Yeah, it was just, I think for us it was about like evolving, because we felt like we were building on strength. Like we loved Returnal and we're like, well, what can we do? But we also knew we felt like a lot of the stuff we were doing almost, it makes it something new. So at that point we're like, let's just keep evolving and let's keep tightening the game. As I said, I think already a lot of people are saying this seems ready, but like we're going to keep tightening to really keep evolving the game and making it better and better. So it's just part of this evolution of wanting to build a better and better game. So I think that's kind of where it comes on, this almost internal drive to like push ourselves as developers and deliver a better and better game every time.
What are the kind of markers for success for you? Is it purely like a Metacritic thing? Is it watching players play it on Twitch, things like that? What for you as a creator do you want to see?
I think for me as a creator, I'd love people to say the words that I've kind of said, like they view the game as being mysterious, they view the game as being sort of monstrous, and they kind of view it as moving. To me, I hope that people think this is a really unique and special game, the same way Returnal was. I think that to me is our success criteria, because I feel like we made something special, and I want us to keep creating really special games from Housemarque for players, because I think it's unique to be surprised and challenged. So I think that's the biggest thing. Obviously, Metacritic is wonderful and sales is wonderful, but I think we've set out to create something really bold. And I hope people say, this is a bold game.
Yeah. And in terms of doing Saros directly after Returnal, like Housemarque aren't a studio that do sequels, they do like thematic sequels, if anything. Any desire whatsoever to do sequels, or do you think you get more freedom doing it this way? Because people know what a Housemarque game is. When that trailer started, I was like, well, this is obviously the Housemarque game.
Yeah, well, never say never, but I'd say right now for us, it's about evolving and kind of seeing where we can go and like how we can like succeed. But I'd say in the short term, let's see how Saros goes and we'll know what we want to do.
Nice. And just finally, a few words on Raul Coley, obviously the star of the show. Jen Perry, wonderful in Returnal, but Raul Coley, very mainstream star, heading up this game. Talk about getting Raul involved. And Simone, your art director, said yesterday that they put Raul in the concept art before you'd cast him, so quite a bold gambit.
Yeah, so we obviously we loved Raul's work, and early on in the project, we knew exactly the story we wanted to tell, and we knew the character we were building, and we knew what we wanted to say. So Raul has told this story. I've heard him share it. So essentially, we fortunately PlayStation could connect us with Raul, and I was there with Harry Kruger, and before we could even pitch the game, Raul just said, "I'm in.
Nice.
I love Returnal. I love Housemarque. Let's get it. Like, let's do this. What do you want to do?" And then we pitched the full game. We pitched the arc. We pitched everything. And he's like, yes, it was really in. And he's been such a tremendous collaborator. He's a huge gamer. Yeah, definitely. Amazingly. So we love talking about games. He's played a lot of Saros and has given great feedback. And he's actually really good. So it was impressive for someone who hadn't played. He's been playing it since we started the collaboration. And I think he's brought such authenticity and he's really pushed the story. And he's been a great collaborator. So I feel like with Returnal, we were so lucky to work with Jane, as he was so wonderful. And I think Raul has been wonderful as well. So it's been a joy. And I can't wait for you to see more of his performance. Did you see the ending?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's insane. Like some of the stuff he goes through and the arc that Arjun has and the performance he does, it's super cool. So no, he's been incredible. And I think Arjun would not be Arjun without Rahul, and Celine without Jane is not Celine. So they brought both of them in leading out both Returnal and now Saros. They've been like tremendous actors. And there's a lot more you haven't seen, and every actor who's contributed has been wonderful. But no, Rahul's been a joy. And fortunately, he was already down. So when we showed the concept of him in a suit, he was already keen. And I was a big fan of a lot of the kind of, I guess, the philosophies we were going for and wanting to be part of like a dark science fiction world, and but also wanting it to feel really grounded and gritty. So yeah, and I'm so proud of the role and like what he's done with it. It's been tremendous.
That must have made things so much easier as soon as he was like, yeah, do what you want. Like, I'm so up for this.
Yeah. And still, rightly so, you would challenge. And I think that's what you need in a collaborator. They kind of say like, we can do better. And hey, like a lot of our voiceover sessions, I think he pushed and I appreciate it. But we would kind of look at a line and say like, this isn't Arjun, let's do better. And we would just even improvise and really push. So I think it's been tremendous. So not just doing what we want in any sense of the word. If anything, he's been challenging us to create a better game the same way that I feel we've challenged him to be a better protagonist for our game. So
excellent. Well, Gregory, April 30th, nearly time.
yeah.
I'm desperate to get it. Yesterday when you were like, there's a cutscene for people who don't beat the 2 bosses to catch up, I was like, I will be mortified if I can't beat the first 2 bosses. All my Returnal cred out the window. And like you did for having us here, no problem. Thank you for having us and thank you for chatting.
Yeah, cool. My pleasure. And yeah, get ready.
VGC is supported by Patreon. Check out patreon.com/videogameschronicle for more podcasts, ad-free browsing, and extra content. Thank you for your support.